So I would like to answer this question in three different aspects. First, the project management process. And there I identify 5 processes: identification of what you need, then you plan, then you execute, you supervise, and then you report. So that is like the standard. And now I will tell you what the priorities here are in the creative industries in my experience. So the most important thing is execution. Jumping to the execution is probably the most common process part of project management. Then while you already are in your mind in the execution, you kind of do an identification. But everything is mostly oral or in the head. Very rarely you write out something down. I personally write everything down because, as I mentioned in the beginning, when I was presenting myself, I love to organize and structure everything. So I love writing things down, but it's not so common. So then after you have executed / identified, you kind of by on the way supervise. But it's not like the steps that they should be. It's like a mixture. Planification comes more or less at the bottom. You plan only if the last project was not so good, and then you realize, oh, maybe I need to plan a little bit. Then you introduce. I want to say here, it also depends how big the project is. When it's a huge tour, world tour with a lot of cities, planification probably goes on the top. So it really depends. But I'm talking about the lots of diversity of different kinds of projects in the creative industry. It mostly is execution, then identification, supervision, planification, and the last one is reporting, because of the budget issue I said in the beginning. Usually you need to report to the people who gave the money. But if there's no money, you need to report so much. So depends how much money is in the game, how much you need to report. So if it's your own project, no need to report. But I think it's very helpful to report yourself and do a self-reflection, even though you don't have this entity that is telling you report to me. It's important to self-reflect and report to yourself. The second aspect I want to mention is the project areas. I have identified 3 that are the most important in the creative industry. The first one is time, because there's a concert date that's advertised all over the city, in the commercials and in the streets. Everybody's saying concerts, whatever, on this date. So the time is very important. Then the cost, because you always need to know, do I have really the money to do that? And then the quality. But the quality, we do not have any standard quality manuals like other industries. The quality part is more abstract and intuitive. And the interesting thing is the quality part is not coming from the artist point of view, but from the producer point of view. So the quality needs to be okay for the producer, because that's a conflict of interest. Many times what the artist considers and as not quality enough, the producer will say, let's do that like that, because they have a bigger concerns and the bigger picture. So it's good to have a little bit of cooperation, but the quality is more important for the producers, and they sort of go with their gut if they like the singer or not. And at the end of the day, you cannot measure that. It's sometimes half of the people don't like one artist, the other half love it. It's really, really difficult to say that was not good or it was good, because it's actually a creative expression and a moment in time. So that's a little bit challenging. And the last aspect I want to mention is the tools. We use team meetings a lot. Meeting in person is very important. The second most important thing is closure. We usually have a celebration. We usually always have a party. And in these parties, after the concerts, we give the feedback. We don't have a meeting after for a feedback and a feedback protocol, but we do have in this party, we do the feedback, what we thought about it, what we like, what we don't like, and then we already transition to the next idea within these parties. And I call it a little bit like the gossip. So that's the format, like a little bit like talking to friends about your ideas. And it's very important, this tool that we use to continue and to close the event and to open the next one. Then we also use schedule, budget plan, to-do list is very, very, very common. For sure, everybody has a to-do list if they're working in the creative industry. Milestones, something we use a lot is brainstorm. Brainstorming is very welcome because it's the door number one for creativity. Expert judgment, and all kinds of lists. Things we need for the technical writer. Technical writer is like a document where you have everything technical that the project needs, like how many microphones, how many TVs, how many whatever. And so that's a very important list, let's call it simplified list of things you need to bring to the production. And I personally use Airtable to organize the things I do, because I can share with my team, and it has a lot of different ways to organize the same information. So you have an information, you have a lot of information, and then you can change the way the information is shown. And I love that. So that's my personal preference.